think about that, and it's quite enlightening for you to see it. So.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, what you said you can't come back to the States?
Yeah, well, check it out, right? After the housing market crash, I sent a letter. I don't have money for lawyers. I told you that anymore. I lost everything. So I did everything I could. I sent Melissa a letter. It says, I am going bankrupt here. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. And I sent the copy of the letter, because you got to serve the person. Then you send the copy that says with the certified receipt in it to the child support people.
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted her. I did everything legal. I sent it off to the child support. They did not adjust my child support, so they've been racking this $550 against me every month. It's up to some like $9,000 now. And what happens if I go back?
They put you in jail.
Well, they'll put me in jail and they'll take my passport so I can't come back. And I've got a $500,000 asset sitting down here. I'm waiting for this murder trial to go down.
What murder trial?
Okay, see, I never got to tell you about this, but you just keep this one to yourself, all right? Don't tell anybody about this because they'll be able to look it up and know where I'm at and find my house and da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
But this has happened. On my dad's side of the family, I have this dear uncle. He actually came to my rescue when my dad and my mom were splitting up when I was 7.
Okay.
So that my Uncle Bo shows up, and he takes me out for ice cream. He's obviously taken me away from some incident, And he told me, he says, now listen, when you get older, you better come find me because we're going to have a lot to talk about. And so it's really, really interesting. It's fucking wild. Really crazy shit is going on, right? So I'm thinking about this guy. Mom can even tell you, I had a binder. I was searching this guy out when I was like 13. I was like, man, these parents are crap. This guy will look out for me. I just got to find him. He'll understand. He told me he would. I could see it in his eyes that he would. So I'm going to go find this guy, and then everything's going to be great. So I had this like childhood fantasy of meeting up with my uncle. Well, so check this out. So this housing year is just terrible, right? I knew Bo was in Panama. I talked to him a few times as I got older, and I knew he was out here. So I'm thinking, now, man, after this leasing season, I'm fucking taking $1,000. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to go find Bo. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm looking up just general information on Panama, right?
This is your dad's brother.
This is my dad's brother.
Okay.
So I'm looking. Yeah, so you're going to flip when you hear this. So did I tell you about meeting up with my dad on the airplane and everything?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Okay, so check this out. This is what the church means a lot to me because this is the pipeline where I start praying and being really loyal to God. And then through that relationship, I've had these extreme things. So anyway, I'm looking up Panama on my iPhone. I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you this. I am going to sound crazy when I tell you this, but I'm looking at my iPhone, just general about Panama. This site comes up called the Panama Guide. There's an article in it that says, I read the headline, it says these 3 people are missing. I believe that they were killed by this individual. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to read this. I want to read something about, something positive. So I'm scrolling down, you got the iPhone, so use your finger to scroll down, right? I'm scrolling down, I put my finger on my uncle's name. And nobody knows, yeah. So I'm just like, holy shit. So I'm contacting this guy. There's another article comes out a few days later, says his best friend owns this hotel called the Kokomo Hotel. And they interview my uncle's best friend. And they say, yeah, Bo is one of my closest friends. This is wild. This is crazy. So anyway, there's this other gringo down here. His name's Wild Bill. You could look this up. There's a million articles on the thing. He called himself Wild Bill, killed 5 people in Panama. Dateline was down here. They were trying to pay me to do an interview with them. I didn't do it, but, because I didn't want them to see the Dateline and be like, oh, look, there's your Brandon in Panama.
Right.
So now I'm down here, and I just came down. This guy's like, yeah, I'll tell you all about what happened. So I called the Kokomo owner. I'm talking to him on the phone for an hour. He's like, you know what, just come down here. I can't really tell you. You got to just come down. You want to know how he was living, what life is like down here. You want to talk to his friends, I'll introduce you.
Wait, so Bo is dead?
Yeah, he's dead. He got shot in the back of the head by this fucking asshole.
By Wild Bill.
By Wild Bill. He's in a jail right down the street from me right now. I'm in a little town called David where they're going to process this trial. They were supposed to do it in May. It got delayed. Now they're going to do it next month. So I'm just hanging in this little town waiting to be a part of this process because, there's been this crazy spiritual journey going on down here with me.
Now, why did Wild Bill shoot these people?
For their stuff. He would kill them, and then he paid some greasy lawyer to transfer their house. He did it. When he moved here to Panama, he killed a husband, a wife, and a 17-year-old son. Took over their residence, took over their bank accounts, was living like a king down here for 2 or 3 years. Nobody knew what he did because he found out that this Mike Brown, the first family he killed, that this guy was on, he wanted to live in secret. The place that he took over was this place way out in the jungle off an island, right? You got to take a boat for 45 minutes to get to this guy's residence, but he's got a farm there. You can hide out. It's like it was a hideout, Uh-huh. They found out after him being dead, he was actually he used to work for a Colombian cartel back in Miami or something. So he made a clean break, started having a family, went legit, never got caught type of situation. Well, in the confession, this Wild Bill guy has now confessed, trying to get his wife released, who was totally an accomplice the whole time. But so he's confessed, trying to be cooperative and get her off saying in the confession, of course, that she had nothing to do with any of this stuff. But anyway, so what he did is he killed this whole family, transferred the property. He met my Uncle Bo, who is a smart cat. This guy's been around the block. He also left my grandparents' home when he was 15 and just went and made his own life. And him and my dad, they must have had it really raw because these two guys couldn't look at each other without breaking into tears. They had a really bad childhood together. And so anyway, this guy, I think my uncle was definitely in the drug business for quite some years.
Okay.
But so he's street smart. You meet him, you're gonna know this guy is worldly. You know what I mean? But he went legit and owned a store in Santa Fe. Have you ever heard of the East West Trading Company? You would have loved this store.
I don't think so.
Well, check it out. On his journey, coming to save me, when he stepped in with me, he went up to Santa Fe with my dad for a weekend. He fell in love with Santa Fe and lived there for 15 years before he moved to Panama. So anyway, to catch you back up down here, so then a few years later, this guy doesn't want to be out on the island anymore. This is what his confession says, that they wanted to live closer to the town, and this Panamanian archipelago of islands has a big town on one of the islands. So they wanted to live closer to town, so they met my uncle. They thought this guy, he didn't want to talk to people. He kept a real low profile. He said in the confession he thought he was a witness protection program from the mob type of dude, and he thought that he would probably be living in Panama in secret, so that's why he killed my uncle. So anyway, paid a lawyer, put the house in his name, and my uncle has a freaking mansion down here, so I come down here, I'm staying at this hotel. This guy's like, yeah, you're Bo's nephew? Well, he was my best friend. You come down here, you could stay at my hotel for 3 weeks, no problem. So I'm staying at his hotel. He puts me in touch with a lawyer who's friends with my uncle. In the file, there's a will. He left everything to me.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah, so now, but see what it is right now the house is in this murderer's name. They convict him, then they put it back in my uncle's name, and then they process the inheritance down to me. So the house is probably worth, on a quick sale, of course now it's a famous house. I don't know if that hurts or helps. The real estate probably hurts, but
probably, yeah.
Yeah, 200, you could probably grab 200 grand out of the house. He's got another lot I could probably quick sell for 50 grand. And then he's got this artwork collection that they confiscated. My uncle was he got sick. He's like you get sick of bad people and you just fall in love with animals. He gets sick of bad people and he falls in love with ancient cultures. So he's collected all these ancient culture museum pieces.
Wow. So he's got probably a couple million in that stuff.
No, I think it's more like 50 grand worth, but
okay.
But still, that's a high level. I mean,
that's
from
cool, yeah.
Coming right, like he was a greaser back in the hippie days. This dude was like my dad said he was just, he went out and he was brawling in the streets and he was showing up to pick my dad up in a 69 Firebird in 69.
Wow.
So he was a lot like me, and then check this out. So I get down here also, and he had buried my uncle for 3 months. So the remains that Panama didn't have any information on any family here in their records. So what I give DNA to see if so the doctors have something to issue a death certificate with. You know, he's in the confession that that's him, but the doctors can't issue, the scientific community can't say anything until they have that scientific evidence. So I give them the DNA, and check this out. So I get the DNA results back, and we forward them to my dad, of course, right away. You know, it's his brother, blah blah blah. And there was a message in Spanish. I hadn't even translated the message. It was right when I got here, so I hadn't had time to learn Spanish yet, and I didn't translate the message. I just went ahead and shot it off to everyone. But my dad's wife now, she was a medical administrator for however many years, and she was just like, I've never seen anything like this. DNA results do not look like this. And so we translate the message later, and the guy from the embassy rep here in Panama, he said the same thing. He's just like, man, I've looked at these all the time. It's like, never do you get one with a 99 percentile identification like this. I mean, and what you're looking at on the form is 2 columns of about like 150 numbers, and there's 2 blanks, 2 dashes on his side where there's not a dash on mine, there's a number, but every other series of numbers was an exact match.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
there's like unequivocally no doubt at all that you're his relative.
Yeah, well, but here's the spooky thing, is me and him, and we're all putting this together as I get to know his friends, and I'm getting to hear what childhood stories he shared with them, because I didn't know anything. I just knew he had a hardcore life. He would know what I was thinking about in my head, because he had a very similar situation as a kid. And
hey, don't do that. Rowan, no. Don't do that. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
Just, little brother to big sister, I got to tell you, like, if you feel alone in the world, like all the wild shit I've been through just in my life, right? It kind of when you're hanging out with people, you don't have as much to say to everybody, that you're not on the same wave, you get tuned to kind of like another perception in life, and you think a little differently. I mean, this is
exactly. I know what you mean, because I do that too. I don't think like the rest of the world.
I know you do. I know you're real compassionate, a real genuine heart. There's no bullshit in your body anywhere. That's how I am now, and that's how he was. And so when I think, so I'm thinking, man, I got to meet this guy all the time, in my life, because he's the only person who's going to really be able to identify with me. We're both dudes. He went through. He's all tatted up too, and he's running around with a bunch of. He was, I suspect he was very, I was lucky. I ran around, the hooligans I run around with were honorable guys. They weren't these punk cholos in Albuquerque beating up old ladies and stuff, I found myself a real good bunch of friends. I still talk to them every week on Skype and stuff. They were worried about me, and I've had a few of them come down here and visit me and everything. But, anyway, so this guy was a real special guy. I really wanted to meet him. And finding out through conversing with his friends, these people are telling me shit all the time. Like, dude, it's fucking crazy. I feel like I'm talking to a ghost talking to you. You're so like him. That's what they're telling me. There's like, I can see him literally jumping out of you like every other minute that you're just talking about whatever. You're like him.
Wow.
And so it's a really weird... It's been a really, and so, how people tell you, well, a shower turned on, or I don't know, some kind of weird, I was really asking for a sign, and then my mom from the other side, she actually communicated with me. I've had a communication with the dead people. I've heard these stories, and I've believed a lot of the people that are telling me too, but,
right.
Cool people, but, and I think that.
Well, I've had some experiences like that.
Have you? I finally have now too. Oh, too.
Good.
Yeah. When I finally get the house back from this investigation, it was torn apart.
Oh.
Just torn. The cops heard there was money hidden in the wall, so they hit everything with a sledgehammer. They never cleaned it. It's in the jungle. So I spend the last $5,000 I got in my bank account fixing this whole thing up. I'm doing this spiritual experience. I don't know why, but I'm doing it. And I'm going to fix this house back up. And all this stuff is just too crazy for me not to do it. Finding him on the iPhone, everything.